YouTube land, I would like to welcome you to this video today where I'm going to talk about multi-monitors. Now, there are a lot of people who only use one monitor, and there are a lot of people who use multiple monitors. And today I want to sort of address the pros and cons of using multiple monitors and my opinions on multiple monitors. First, I'm going to start off with my opinions on multiple monitors. I love using multiple monitors because it really helps when I'm working on stuff. This last week or week and a half or so, when I've started doing videos and stuff, being able to have a window open on one screen and have an editing program or another window open in another screen really helps. And it doesn't seem like it would help that much because, yeah, sure, on one screen you can just go down to the taskbar if you're on Windows, and you can just click the icon and bring up the other program. But when you don't have to do that, it doesn't seem like you're saving much time. But when you're actually doing it, you're actually saving a lot more time than you think you actually are. And when I first, because I am using a laptop at the moment, I just used to just go down to the taskbar and open up my other window, and that was it. But now I can use my laptop along with this second monitor here, and I'll swivel the camera over. Hang on. So now I have my laptop there and my second monitor here, and this makes it so much easier to work, because if I'm working on something, say I'm editing something, if I have an editing program open on this monitor, then I can have either an Explorer tab open here where I could be dragging files into that, or I could have Chrome or Firefox or Word or Excel or whatever program I need to use at the moment to my availability on my other monitor. And that's something that, now that I've gone to using two monitors, when I take my laptop places with me, it's really hard to go back to doing, to not being able to take my mouse and go from screen to screen here. And it's something I've just gotten so used to. It's difficult for me to go back to just using my normal laptop screen, because it just increases my efficiency at working by so much. It's unbelievable. And even doing work for school, I can have Word open if I'm doing an essay, and if I need to do research, then I can have my browser open on the other monitor, and it's so much easier than flipping back and forth, and then flipping back and forth multiple times to type down one sentence, or flipping back to see what that other thing said, because you don't have to do that with two monitors. You can just have one up here and the other one on the other screen. And so that is a really great feature that I'm able to take ability of, because my laptop has a D-sub port. Now, I know some older laptops might not have them. I think almost all new laptops, I probably shouldn't say all, but I would say most new laptops, probably 75% of them, do come with an HDMI port on them nowadays. So you can use HDMI and connect it to TVs. For instance, my TV out in the living room is a 47-inch TV, and that has a D-sub port on it, so sometimes I can take my laptop out to my living room and I can stream something from there to my TV out in the living room. So if I'm watching a video or streaming something like off Netflix, I can plug that into my TV and do that, which allows me to still use my computer for using Netflix and such things, but it allows me to view it on different monitors or TVs. But it depends on what type of laptop you have. If you're using a laptop for doing multiple monitors, Like I said, most newer ones now, I believe, include HDMI almost on a lot of them. And if they don't include that, then they do include D-sub. So, I mean, you could just find yourself a nice D-sub cable or a VGA cable, whatever you want to call it, or an HDMI cable if your laptop supports that, and plug it into a second monitor. And you can use different things as a second monitor. You can use an actual monitor as a second monitor, or before I was using this, I was using this TV over here, which I don't think you guys can see, and excuse the mess. I was busy earlier. So I'm going to get into now the pros and cons of having multiple monitors. Now, the pros I have listed here is, the first one is increased productivity, which I've already touched on a little bit. Having multiple windows open, being able to compare things like that. Easy to run multiple programs. Like I already said before as well, if I'm editing something, I can have one thing up in one window and be on the internet. Or if I'm on the internet looking at things, I can have iTunes open, or some other media playing program, or whatever. And that makes it a little bit easier instead of flipping back between screens. Another thing you can do is you could have, if you're working on something and you need to stay updated with your email or Facebook or Twitter or whatever other social media sites you use, Instagram, MySpace, doesn't matter. You could have one of those open up on the other monitor, and it's easier to stay updated that way. I mean, if you only have to glance over a screen instead of flip through 2 tabs of something, it makes it a little bit easier and more efficient for you to work and stay updated at the same time. You can share data between applications, and I do this all the time. If I'm editing a video, I can throw whatever program I'm using to edit up on the one screen, and I can just open up Explorer and just drag the files over to the other screen that I need to use, and that makes it a whole lot easier when I'm trying to put multiple videos together into one, to actually be able to edit these videos and get them all in there, instead of having to go back down and click it so that way I can drag it over, and then once it activates the other window, it covers up that, and repeat the process until I've gotten all the stuff that I need to get out. And the last one is more for the gamer in mind, but having multiple monitors is cool for gaming because you can do surround gaming. You know, most of the time when you see nerd gamers that use a PC to game, usually you see them, whether it be in movies or whatever it is that you see them in, they have 3 gigantic monitors and they're playing games on all screens, and that's really cool. And with some of the newer graphics cards out there, you can actually do that. You know, with something like a 7970, you know, the Radeon series, I think all of their cards have support for up to like 4 monitors. I think even like a 7770 can push out 4 monitors. I mean, granted, you might not be able to play HD video on all 4 monitors at the same exact time, and you probably wouldn't get great performance doing surround gaming on 3 27-inch monitors at full 1080p with a 7770. But all that aside, you can use most graphics cards today support multiple monitors, and I'd say today a lot more people use multiple monitors in just a standard home environment than before, because before, people who were using multiple monitors were most likely people who are either doing stock trading, where you need all those windows open to view all of those things at once, people who are working in programs like editing or doing drafting. I take a drafting class at my school, and it would be awesome if I could have a second monitor hooked up there, because it is, when I'm using 2 or 3 programs and switching in between them, it's a lot easier if I could just use my system here to do it, because I have the multiple monitors here, and that makes it a lot easier for me. Now, there are some cons to using multiple monitors, and I'm going to get into those now. Now, when you're having multiple monitors, if you're trying to work on something on one monitor, and there's something on the other monitor, like say you have Facebook open, and you've got notifications that just keep popping up, that's going to be a distraction. And if you're trying to work and you only need one monitor to work, then having a multiple monitor might cause more distractions for you and could actually slow down your efficiency in working. So that is something you should look out for, but more times than not, you're probably going to be benefiting from having a second monitor up. I started to touch on this a moment ago when I was talking about today's graphics cards and how they can support multiple monitors. If you're running something either like onboard graphics or a 7750 or like 640 and lower, like you're running really low-end cards and stuff, when you're using multiple monitors, you're probably going to see a dip in performance. I know if I'm playing Minecraft for say on this laptop and I have it open on this screen versus the actual laptop screen, I actually do see a few frames per second average difference, and that's because it's trying to run more than one monitor at the same time. And that's going to be a difficulty, because not only are you supplying the output to your main monitor, but you're also supplying the output to another monitor, which is going to take a little bit more power. So that is something you're going to have to look out for if you're trying to do a multiple monitor setup. Can your system actually run it? And that's a question that you're going to need to find out. Desk space, and this is huge. I don't have a problem running multiple monitors because I have a 5.5 foot long desk. It might not seem it, but this desk is 5.5 feet, and I have a monitor, my laptop, speakers, my mouse, my router, controllers and remotes, my DS, and sometimes my PSP and other gaming devices, and my TV up here, all at the same time. So desk space isn't really an issue for some. Some people have longer desks than I do. Some people might even use like full-out tables or something. I don't know. But for some people who have that small like student desk or something in their room, it's going to be a lot more difficult to run 2 monitors because you don't have the space for it. And you do need space for multiple monitors, because, I mean, and say monitors, you could get small monitors, like I believe this is a 18-inch monitor, but their monitors, most average sizes now are between 21 and 24, and there's even bigger than that, 27-inch. Some of the other more like workstation monitors, I guess you'd call them, can even go higher than 30 inches, and those are pretty big monitors. Granted, if you're running a 30-inch monitor, you're probably not going to be running 2 of those, because you probably already have all the workspace that you need on that. But for even 2 24-inch monitors, even if you angled them like so, you're still going to be taking up quite a bit of desk space. So that is something you need to look out for if you're trying to run multiple monitors. Cost. Cost is not that big for some. For others, it might be if you're on a budget. Which, you know, yeah, if you're building a new computer and you need a new monitor, and you're looking for something between 21 and 24 inches, if you're looking at a good monitor, you're probably looking around $200. And if you're on a budget, most likely, if you're building a $400 or $500 computer, you're not looking into spending another $400 in monitors. Now, maybe if you have a huge pile of money that you've been saving up for this, or you just have money to throw around, then yeah, multiple monitors might be your thing, because you might have the money to go spend $200, $300 per monitor and get 2 or 3 of them. But some people who are on a budget probably aren't going to be able to do that if you're building a $400 computer. Too much space is also an issue, because if you're building, my bad. If you have two, like, say you have two 27-inch monitors, if you're just using a regular browser, it's pretty ridiculous to have, you know, 2 monitors that are 27 inches if all you're doing is surfing the internet. I remember when I had a bigger TV because my brothers were using 2 smaller TV in their room, and I had a 32-inch TV in here, and I had that hooked up as my second monitor for a while. And a 32-inch TV as a second monitor was nice when I was watching something like a video in full screen, or I was streaming something off of Netflix, or I'm using things like that, or maybe if I was even editing something where I could have my editing program open on the larger screen so I could get more, like, say you're using Premiere or Vegas, you're going to have bigger spaces to work and be able to see more of the video at one time, whereas on a smaller monitor you might not be able to do that. But if you're just using a 32-inch monitor to view web pages, that is rather ridiculous. I mean, think about it. Do you need a monitor that's 32 inches for viewing web pages when you could honestly get away with something that's 21 inches with no problem whatsoever? And those are just a few cons that I was able to come up with. For me, the pros way outweigh the cons. I mean, having multiple monitors doesn't really distract me. If I was going to look into new monitors, that cost might be an issue, because I don't have a large amount of funds to just toss around to buy a bunch of monitors. But that doesn't really matter, because my laptop has one screen already, and this was a monitor I took from an old computer I had, so I was kind of just making use of it. If you have a laptop and you want to run a second monitor, like I said, go ahead and get a VGA or D-sub cable, whatever you want to call it, or an HDMI cable if your laptop supports it, and plug it into your TV and use it if you have a good-sized TV. I know this right here is a 19-inch, and I used that for a while because that was, you know, that was where I started using a second monitor, and I was like, this is awesome. But then it became a little bit difficult if I wanted to be on the computer and play my PS3 or Xbox. So I was able to take this from an old computer that I had laying around in the house, and now I have my TV, my laptop hooked up to the second monitor, and I can do both now. But cost could be an issue for some people, like I said, who are on a budget. I don't really, it's a laptop. I know I'm not going to be able to do surround gaming on it, so that really doesn't matter much to me. Maybe in the future, if when I build a nice gaming PC, surround gaming is something I definitely want to do. But at this point in the game, with a laptop like this, surround gaming is going to be out of the question. So, I mean, I don't even think maybe if you have a really high-end Alienware or like a Razer Blade or something, you might be able to run games on like 2 other monitors, but I mean, that's just kind of getting ridiculous. And I think if you're going to be running multiple monitors for surround gaming, you're probably going to want to have a proper gaming PC. So I wouldn't imagine a lot of people try to run surround gaming off of laptops. And I don't really get distracted having the second monitor up. Like I said, when I'm using the computer, I'm using both screens at one time. So having two monitors is benefiting me more than it's hurting me. So that's why I just really enjoy having a second monitor, because it makes my life a lot easier when I'm working on something. And sorry if I'm squinting so much, the sun is in my eyes. So those are just the basic pros and cons. I'm pretty sure there are plenty of other things you could get into, like if you have them positioned, would you want like IPS panels if you're going into buying them? If you're going into buying multiple monitors, if you're just doing normal everyday things, then, you know, just look for your normal things like good response time and good contrast, those kind of things. If you're looking more for gaming, I would definitely look into more for something like small bezels, because nothing annoys me more than seeing a game played across 3 screens when you have inch-thick bezels on the end of each one. I mean, 2 inches of black plastic in the middle on each side of your game is going to be pretty annoying, and I'm not a fan of having huge bezels. I know some people do like big bezels, but for me, the smaller the bezel, the better. I don't know, that's how I am. I think the monitor looks a lot cleaner that way. So anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I'm going to put the link for our Twitter in the description, so don't forget to follow us there. If you liked this video and found it helpful, then please hit the like button. If you want to see more about tech and gaming, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching, everybody, and see you later.